Hi guys, Mr. Bear here. I just wanted to make a video to kind of give you some insight for newer students and new parents to kind of who I am and some of my philosophies on teaching. And I sat down and started typing out the normal like, "Hey guys, welcome to orchestra class" thing. And I was like, you know what? Times are changing, Mr. Bear. We can just make a video. I can say more. It's more meaningful. And with this COVID-19 kind of stuff, I think the last thing you want is another teacher saying like, "Oh, this sure is going to be an odd year." Yeah, we know it's going to be an odd year. Well, I'll tell you right now, just a little bit about myself and some of my philosophies and some of the things that I'm thinking of and ideas that are going to be with COVID, because I think that's important too, to try to be flexible. So I grew up in Spartanburg, South Carolina. My mother was my orchestra teacher. Started in fifth grade on the bass. So, those of you parents are like, "My student wants to play the bass. That's a big instrument." Just stop. Let them play the bass. I'll tell you, it'll pay off in dividends way down the road for colleges and stuff like that. But I started with the bass. I chose the bass because my mother is a violinist, and I hated the sound of violins trying to practice softly at night, and I couldn't sleep. So, and I also, I felt kind of like that, although I was very inspired by her teachings and stuff, I felt like there were some things that I wanted to do differently, and so I was able to, and I feel like I've been very successful in that, in just taking her teachings, the things I did like and enjoy, and taking some of my own ideas also. As the student, I'll tell you one of the things that I focus on first is teaching the student how to maintain a high level of focus through anything they're doing. And one of the things I really love about orchestra is I can take the time to teach other things than just orchestra necessarily. And I usually say I use orchestra as a vessel to teach excellence. And I just happen to be an orchestra teacher. It's the easiest way for me to do that. Although I enjoy music, I enjoy orchestra, playing in orchestras, I didn't want to become a professional musician. I wanted to teach because I enjoy working with kids. So here in this class, we try to learn about long-term versus short-term goals. I find that students can't see 2 months ahead of themselves. In the sixth grade, sometimes they can't see more than a week ahead of where they are. And especially in this time with COVID, I find that a lot of students are finding it very frustrating, and they are acting and making decisions like this is it, this is the end, like this is exactly how it's going to be for the next forever. And they don't realize that it's like, guys, this is going to end. And we're going to go back to normal, and we're going to want to pick up and do things. So you don't make decisions, emotional decisions, in times of distress. And then the biggest thing, the last thing that I really harp on as a musician is learning how to fail. I love it. I love when kids fail and they try their best and they can't get it. And learning how to deal with that emotion and learning from our failures is one of the best tickets to success, long-term, short-term, and fast. I find that most students who struggle to move fast, they stink at failing. They can't fail often and just move on to the next thing and just understand that let's learn from it and move on. It's not the end of the world. And so that's something that I love music because we fail all the time. It's not like I dropped my instrument, I can't play anymore. I missed this note. I played a sharp when I should have played a flat. Or, I missed looking at the key signature. Or this rhythm was confusing. But to get to that point to where, parents value that input and that support that I give, and I value their support, and their students love seeing that progress right there. So, more about me. I graduated from USC, master's from North Greenville University. None of that matters though, because if you stink at teaching, you stink at teaching. You can have all education in the world. But did enjoy my time there. Outside of school, I'm a beekeeper is the thing that probably gets people's most attention. and have fun with that. So if you never need any honey, I definitely do sell my honey, and I always have a lot to sell. So I also enjoy tinkering on. I have a lot of vehicles and fun just toys that I love. I'm very mechanically inclined. Don't like doing it for money and working on other people's stuff, but I love working on my own stuff, and I like working with my hands a lot. So teaching philosophy, and what I'm trying to do with your students is create a self-sufficient musician. The faster I can get them self-sufficient, the more I can instill that thirst for knowledge. And as soon as I find that as soon as you get a student who loves to learn, just like myself, I find that, like, as an adult, I just love knowledge. It's one of the most important things to me, and I pursue it in so many different facets of my life. And if I can get a student to love to learn and be interested and go after this knowledge by themselves, we have access to so much in this world right now. And, as parents, you're probably like, yeah, of course, we didn't have smartphones, and here we are, oh, well, we didn't have smartphones back in my day. Well, now we have the internet. Like, I literally, from my pocket, I can pull out and have an answer to almost any question ever. Like, that's just amazing. And the fact that students don't utilize that, and they utilize it in incorrect ways, or they don't appreciate that, is something that I like to teach them how to utilize those skills and be self-sufficient as a learner. I also think I'm a huge harper on to my students that fun is cheap. Okay, you can go to the amusement park for a day and you can pay your $30, $40 admission and have fun for a day. But you come back the next day, it may be fun, yeah. But after you've come back, 50 times, what do you have? You're going to be bored of that. That's cheap, okay? It doesn't take any work. You hand somebody a candy, yeah, you'll have fun until you eat 10 of them, and then you got a stomach ache. So these are all cheap, just enjoyment factors, which we definitely like. But I try to instill into them that actual fulfillment and enjoyment and true joy comes from really hard work and success over a long period of time. You're going to get back what you put into it. And if you're looking for those quick, instant gratifications, then it's something that now I feel like the youth of now they have so much instant gratification, especially with their devices, mobile devices, and sometimes it takes away from the what we have in orchestra is special. And it's like we've been using these instruments for literally hundreds of years. Hundreds and hundreds of years, and they haven't changed in the last 400 years. And that's interesting. We play the same music now, classically trained musicians, as when it was written in 1600s and even 1500s. And we have exposure to this and connection to a past, and it's not through a screen. It's something that's shared, and this is where the COVID aspect of things gets me very... I know this is going to come to an end, and this is where I get emotional, is orchestra is a group activity. It is not, we are not in violin class, and this is where some of my 7th and 8th graders right now are struggling with this COVID. They don't understand that playing your instrument individually at home is not the same as playing in a class. And so some of them are like, Mr. Bear, I just don't like this anymore. I want to quit. And it's like, you didn't want to quit when we were playing orchestra class the day before COVID hit and we had to go home from school. You were ready to go. And they're like, yeah, you're right. So, it's one of those things we have to make sure that we keep that in mind. And I do want to get back to that as quickly as possible. Good news is orchestra is super easy to social distance, and we can play with a mask on. I'm very sad for choir and band that they have to use their mouths for things. We do not. So I'm happy in that happy, not happy. But anyway, my expectations of your child and in my class. I don't want to scare anybody, but I feel like I have some of the highest expectations of any teacher that I know. We've got a lot of fantastic teachers in this school, and they also are fantastic about that. But I feel like I either par on them, or I'm at least at par with their expectations. And this is something. But the funny thing is, my expectations are simple. I don't just load a student down and say, you know what, you need to be practicing 2 hours a day, blah. In fact, most times I tell them, you don't need to be practicing. You need to sit maybe 10 minutes a day, very focused things. So what I try to do is instill a sense of consistency. Move, consistently through things and keep a steady pace. So many people will come out of the gate and they'll like play an instrument. They'll want to learn the instrument. They're so excited. And what do? They go home and they practice for an hour on one simple thing, and then they mess up something else and they learn something incorrectly and they have to unlearn stuff, and they're just all over the place because they're so excited and they can't, let's take it one step at a time. Let's do things in order. And if you give me, I always make the promise to each student, if you give me your best every single day, you give me your best, then you're going to be successful. And your best does not mean the same thing every single day. You may have a day where you didn't get any sleep. You come in. Your best, you're going to be dragging, but your best is your best. Same thing with Mr. Bear. I tell him, you may not see it in me and you may not understand and see when I'm feeling bad and I'm not feeling good, or I'm sick, or I'm definitely not going to be sick with COVID anymore, but sick, or whether I didn't get any sleep. You're not going to see it in me because I'm going to do my best to overcome that. You may catch on to it, and some of my 8th graders can tell if I'm dragging a certain day or something. But I just need your best, and I need it to be consistent. I also think that every child is different, and I hate when people are like, "Oh, I'm fair." I say that's a disservice to students. I am most definitely not fair. Some students I knew 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, when I was a little less experienced. I've been teaching. This will start my 11th year. I found that they would say to me, "Mr. Bear," it bothered them. They say, "I don't feel like you're being fair to me." And I found a way to help them understand that being fair is not fair. Equity versus equality. And so, I may have, if I've got a little 10-year-old girl who doesn't weigh an ounce over 50 pounds, comes in carrying her violin and she's struggling to carry it, I'm going to help her. You might say, "Hey, you know what? Let's calm down for a second. She's all upset. I dropped my instrument. It's probably out of tune." And so I might have to treat her differently than the little boy who comes in. He's carrying his big old bass. He's all he's doing is smacking his instrument into every corner he turns because he's not being careful. You might come to him, be a little harder on him. So it's just equity versus equality. I want to make sure that I give students exactly what they need to be successful. And I think if you don't know me, you will get to know me very well sooner than later. And I have a lot of parents who, as their students get older and older, they're more and more thankful for the amount of time that I spend on them. And one of those is I don't have children of my own. So since I don't have children of my own, I can spend a lot of time in orchestra and invest in these children to make sure that they're successful, and their success is my success. So it kind of works. It's a two-way streak there. So as they get older, I always want to make sure that I follow them through. And I'm not in front of them every single day, but most days I'm up at the high school after school. I'm there. A lot of them ask me for assistance. I teach privately, but we have a fantastic reach program after school. Not sure how that's going to go this year, but it's something that is valuable to me to know that these kids from the day one, they're my student. And as long as they continue being my student, giving me their best, I will be there giving them my best. So As performance level, as Alice Drive Middle School, our performance level is one of the top in the state. We've performed at SCD MEA Music Convention a couple years ago. We are one of the only middle schools in the state to be performing on a grade 4 level at our state assessments, our concert performance assessments, and we have received several superior ratings at that level, and we've had even one year we had a straight superior, which is extremely difficult to do. I know you don't have context for that, but from a middle school perspective, it just shows you the amount of quality that's produced here at Alice Drive Middle School. I find that most students, when if they have to move or move away, they find themselves overly qualified for wherever they may go. It's very rare that I have a student call me and say, "Wow, man, Mr. Bear, this orchestra is so awesome." It's usually the other way around. "Hey, wow, Mr. Bear, I'm the best in this orchestra," which I think is always fun to hear them. Not fun to lose them, but fun to hear that they're well prepared, and that just comes from establishing great mentorship. I feel like at Alice Drive we have a great mentorship, and here in Sumter School District we usually have high schoolers that come over Fridays and help because they have that late arrival. They're always quick to say, "Mr. Bear, I want to come and help you and help your beginning class." Usually we have at least one high schooler is permanently assigned to the beginning class as kind of an apprenticeship or student teacher. We have fantastic guidance department here who's able to schedule a lot of my 8th graders in as assistants to help during these beginning years. And it's just a fantastic thing, and we have growth for whatever level your student is on. We have so many fantastic things that really foster from everything from day one all the way up until the sky's your limit if you really want to input, or I have a lot of students who just love I'm just showing up, Mr. Bear. I'm going to do my best while I'm here. I'm not going to do a lot of practice time at home, but I want to show up. We get an hour and a half every single day, and I say, you know what? That's good. That's what I need from you. Are you going to be the most fantastic player in the world? No, but you're going to be good. Playing an hour and a half a day, you're going to be good if you're taking everything to heart and trying your best. And we do have a lot of students like that, of course, but we also have just as many students who really give it their 100%. And they do that on a regular basis because they see that return on investment from. I'm really excited about this year. Not excited about the circumstances, but beginners are one of my favorite things. They're the reason why I teach. I love seeing the progression, and I love working with those older students and seeing them get to bring everything to fruition. But beginners are where I look forward to it every single day. And I'm excited about this year.